Hi everyone, welcome back. Fully prefacing this video with the fact that I already filmed this. It took me like an hour and a half of filming, and only to discover that for all 5 of the videos I filmed that day, none of the audio recorded. So that was on me. That was totally on me because I pretty much immediately knew what it had to have been. So I'm just trying to refilm this, but yeah, woo, it's gonna be a lot of work. So today we are building my TBR cart with TBR cards. So I have 2 sets. Let me show you here. So I have this set that I got off of Etsy a couple years ago. And then I have the set from Illumicrate that they sent in one of the boxes. So we're going to kind of use a mix. I have 2 shelves that I'm going to redo. My top shelf is my Illumicrate special editions, and I need to read them. So they're staying there. The second and then the bottom shelf we're going to redo. Let's get into it, right? Okay, so we're going to start off with this set. All right, so my first card is read a book with more than 400 pages. So this one is a indie title that I bought last year, and I still really want to read it. It sounds really interesting to me. This is like a fantasy, but it's like pretty damn near 600 pages. So this is going on the TBR cart. I think it was on there already, but I want to keep it on there. So my next card is read a book that matches your shirt. Well, this is a ACOTAR shirt, so we're not going to go with that. But in the previous video, I was wearing my Easily Distracted by Dogs and Books shirt, so I'll show you the book that I picked. This is a romance that's been on my TBR for a while now, and it's You Lucky Dog by Julia London. So, obviously, dogs. So, the next card is read a book with a woman on the cover. And for this one, I picked A Dowry of Blood. This was already on my TBR cart, but I'm going to put it back on because I still do want to get to it. So my next prompt is to read a book by my favorite author. And I have a couple favorite authors, but the one I picked for this is Always Coming Home by Ursula Le Guin. This is a book I bought last year. It's on the longer side, and I don't know, we'll see. The next prompt is to read a book with a number in the title. And this one was quite the struggle to find. But I picked One Dance with a Duke by Tessa Dare because I do want to read another Tessa Dare in the new year. And this is just a little mass market paperback that I own. But I think I had like 3 options, so not a whole lot of options there. My next prompt is to read a book written by a new to you author. So for this one, this is shameful, but I'm going to pick Emily Henry's Book Lovers. Now this was already on my TBR cart, and I didn't get to it this year, and I really need to see if Emily Henry is a novel for me, or is an author for me, because I just need to get it out of the way. It's shameful. So for read a book with 3 or more words in the title, I picked another indie author that I picked up while I was down in Tennessee this year, and that is the Agape Bearer, or Agape, I don't know how you say it. This is I believe it's YA fiction, but it's part of a series, and it sounded really interesting. I picked this up at an indie bookstore while I was down there. So that's really cool, and I want to get to it this year. So then I have read the smallest book on your shelf, and this was a pretty easy pick. This was The Empress of Salt and Fortune by Niveau. It's very short. I'm pretty sure that's like one of the shortest ones on my shelf. So read a book on the ends of your shelf. And for this one, I chose A Fated Vow by Amanda Agee. This is one that I picked up at Imaginarium last year. Admittedly, haven't gotten to a lot of my Imaginarium books from last year, which is kind of embarrassing. plot twist, I am going this upcoming year. I'm also going to a Polycon for the first time. So that's going to be wild, but it's a good thing I'm going on a book buying ban for the rest of the year, because I'm most likely going to be buying a lot of books while I'm there. So the next prompt is to read a book that is between 200 and 300 pages. Now, this was very surprisingly difficult to find, because they were either like just over 300 or not 200. Like, I have very little in the middle. For this one, though, I chose The Morning Glory Milking Farm by CM Nacosta, because she is an author I have not read from yet, but I do own a couple of her books, and I suspect I'm going to like them. They're monster romance. It's not that difficult to like, but yeah. Anyways, it fit the bill, and I was like, I need to read these, so I put them on here. So the next prompt I have is to read a book by a BIPOC author, and for this one, I chose That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon by Kimberly Lemming, and this is a series that I own 3. There's another one coming out, or has come out recently, but I haven't read them yet, so story of my life. The second to last prompt for this shelf is to read a book by a woman author, which is honestly a very easy choice for me. And this was another one that was on my TBR cart previously, and I picked Praise by Sarah Kate, because I do want to get to this. I hear a lot of good things about the series, so yeah. And then the last prompt for this shelf was to have someone pick a book out for you. And so I let my husband do that, and I told him my choices were to either pick the longest book, because that was the other card I drew, or to, which is plot twist, it's Oathbringer. And I don't really want to commit to reading Oathbringer in the first quarter of the year. Hi guys, editing Erin here. So despite this being the second time that I filmed this, as I said at the beginning of the video, my mic either died right here or something, as you could hear kind of leading up to it. Maybe there's some feedback going on, so I don't know what was going on with the mic, but I simply cannot film this a third time, because it's almost like the universe is telling me this is not supposed to go up. But from here on out, there will be a voiceover. I am sorry that this is the case. I wish it wasn't, but I really do want to upload this video because it was a lot of fun. So it's just kind of be a mishmash of voiceover and old footage, and it's going to be a bit of a mess. I'm sorry for that, but thank you for bearing with me. So what my husband ended up picking is still quite a long book, but he did pick his favorite, and it's technically 3 books in one, and that is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. This is going to take me a while to get to, but I am kind of excited to see what the deal is here. Sci-fi is not really my thing, but, you know, we're going to read it. It's going to be fun. Yay. So we're done with those prompt cards, and now we're moving on to the Illumicrate cards that I'm going to use for the bottom shelf of the cart. And the first prompt I picked was to read a book with dragons. And the book I chose for this was The Last Dragon King. This was on my TBR cart prior, but I still really want to read it, and it's on the shorter side, so I'm going to put it back on there. And then my next prompt is a book with a journey or quest. And this one I had to do a little bit of research to pick, but I did choose The High Mountain Court by A.K. Mulford. Yep. This is supposed to be kind of like for fans of ACOTAR, I think, and it's like a 4 or 5 book series now. So I am excited to get into this one. I've put it off for too long, to be honest with you. And then the next prompt that I drew was to pick the newest book on my shelf. And this one, I just recently hauled a couple books, so it wasn't that hard to pick. And that is the Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. I do like the Crowns of Nixia series, so I'm excited to read this one soon, hopefully. The next prompt I got was a book by a debut author. Now, I don't know about debut author, but I did pick the debut book for this author, and that is by Pencole, and it is Spark of the Everflame. I just recently bought these two, like, at the same time, so they're recent purchases for me. I am excited to read this one. A lot of people like this series a lot, so I'm excited to see what it's all about. Then the next prompt that I pulled was a book by an author I've never read before, and I picked Filthy Rich Fae by Geneva Lee. I do think I own Filthy Rich Vampire too, but I haven't gotten to it yet, but Fae are kind of more my thing, which is why I picked this one. Then the next prompt that I chose was to choose a book, focus, a book with werewolves. Sorry. Yeah, so surprisingly, I don't have a lot of these because I read them on KU primarily, but I did choose one that's technically Shifters, and that's Worship Me by Ariella Jane and Kel Carpenter. I have the special edition that I picked up at Illumicrate, or at, oh my gosh, Imaginarium last year, and I still need to read it, so I'm going to do that. It's really short, but the cover is like just absolutely beautiful. It's probably the prettiest book that I own. The next prompt that I chose was to choose a book that is the oldest on my shelf. This one has been on here since like 2017, and that is Black Leviathan. This is a Moby Dick retelling, I think, with dragons, perhaps, like fantasy kind of esque. Still sounds super interesting to me. I've had this one for so fucking long, it's not even funny. And hopefully this year will be the year that I do finally get to it. Then the next prompt that I had was to choose a book with vampires, the irony. Again, I don't have a lot of vampire books actually on my shelves, so it was a struggle, but I chose Bless Your Heart. This is kind of like, you would think I'd pick a paranormal romance, but I don't really have a whole lot of them in physical copy, so this is what I chose. I picked this one up this past year. Still really want to read it, so it's going on the TBR cart. And then I have to pick a book with found family. Now this one also took a little bit of research to figure out what had found family in it, and this is a series that I really want to get into. I have the first book, A Broken Blade. This is the Halfling Saga by Melissa Blair, and this is actually about the end, or like just ended, so I'm way behind, but I really want to read this series. It sounds really good. The next prompt is a book with a murder mystery. This one was really hard because I have like only a handful of thrillers, but I chose The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. From what I could Google, it has a murder element to it, so it was the best I could do for this prompt. Adds a little bit of variety too. My next prompt is a book that is a sequel to one that I've already read, and for this I chose Flamefall by Rosaria Munda. And I read the first book in this a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to figure out what happened. But I think it's kind of like new adults YA Dragon Academy thing. I remember, pretty good series. I still kind of want to read the sequel, but I was on the fence about this one. And then the next prompt that I have is a book set in space, and I chose The Stars Too Fondly, which is like a sapphic sci-fi space romance thing. I just recently bought this one. Very excited to read it still, so I thought it was a good choice for this. I don't have a lot of sci-fi, so, you know, it was kind of hard, but we did the best we could. And then the next prompt I pulled was a romantasy book. And for this, it was a pretty easy choice. I chose the next book in the Dark Olympus series, Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. I have this one checked out on audiobook now, and I'm hoping to get to it rather soon. I do really like this series, so this is just the next one I've got to read. I'm quite behind on it, to be honest with you. The next prompt that I pulled is a book you recently purchased, so another newer book. And this one I did actually buy it a while ago, but still wanted to use it for this prompt. I did buy it in the last year, and that's Bound to the Shadow Prince by Ruby Dixon. And I just read Ruby Dixon's like newest release, and I can't believe I haven't gotten to this one yet, so I picked it. Yeah, so those are the books that are on my TBR cart now. I probably will give myself until about April until I reevaluate and go through. Hopefully, I will have read everything on my TBR cart by then. Thank you for watching, as always. Give this video a thumbs up if you did like it, and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. I upload every Saturday at 10 a.m. currently. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!